Antiquity. In ancient wars, it was not only the strong who won. Battles were as much mental as physical. Greek hoplites lined up shoulder to shoulder and thrust their spears forward at the same time. This phalanx formation was so organized that they established psychological superiority even before the battle began. The Persian armies, on the other hand, were composed of tens of thousands of men, but in tight spaces, this crowd was useless. At the Thermopylae Pass, a few thousand Spartans were able to stop the vastly superior Persians for hours, because the terrain of war had become more strategic than numbers. In that age, a leader did not just lead troops. He took into account which mountain to lurk behind, the direction of the wind, even the position of the sun. What worked before the sword, the mind. Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, the theater of war changed. No longer did armies fight in the open, but around castles, walls, moats, catapults. Taking a castle required not only physical strength, but also patience and planning. During months-long sieges, armies would burn farmland and cut off water supplies to starve the people inside. Wars were won not with the spear, but with resource management. Knights were the symbol of this era. Heavy armor, big swords, charisma on horseback. But individual heroism was ineffective against grand strategies. Some battles were won with an insider guard or a secret door opened in the middle of the night. Intelligence was now behind the scenes of war. New Age. When gunpowder was introduced in the New Age, the whole balance was shaken. Now, instead of throwing stones, cannons were fired. Castles became defenseless against gunpowder. The volume of war increased, but the duration decreased. Sieges began to last weeks, not years. The conquest of Istanbul in 1453 was won not only with big cannons, but also with military planning. The landing of ships was one of the most unexpected moves in history. This move even questioned the laws of physics on the battlefield. In Europe, leaders like Napoleon turned the battlefield into a chessboard. He moved his armies at astonishing speeds, starting the war before the enemy could plan. Gunpowder increased power, but it also made it necessary to think fast. Modern Age. In the 20th century, war was no longer just a military affair. In World War I, trenches were dug and fronts were fixed. For months, thousands died for an inch of land. Weapons were modernized, but tactics were still old. With the Second World War, strategy was revolutionized. Tanks, aerial bombardment, paratroops. But the real difference? Information superiority. The British changed the course of the war by cracking the German Enigma codes. Breaking one message saved the lives of thousands of soldiers. Technology was no longer just a weapon, but a weapon of information. Today, war is more digital than physical. It is not won on the front line, but on the screen. A country's air defense system can be brought down by a hacker. Cyber attacks can cut the enemy country's electricity and paralyze banking systems. Drones hit targets without human intervention. Artificial intelligence recognizes the enemy, selects the target, and makes decisions. The battlefield is no longer the world, but the data stream, and sometimes a war starts without anyone noticing.